Let's talk about the sin of fact-checking. And we're going to do this by looking at a Frederick Douglas meme. The sin of fact-checking is actually pretty simple. It's a fig leaf. It's a Trojan horse. It has nothing to do with honesty and everything to do with dishonesty, and in the end, it is all about bearing false witness. It's all about sophistry, things which might sound true and have some technical correction to them, but in fact, they are just wicked garbage. It's amazing to me how the entire fact-checking industry, which purports to have one task, is comprehensively wicked. It is anything but honest or about fact. And when we apply the biblical principles of testing the spirits, examining fruits, we find that this is indeed all about conformity and control. It's about one group of people having access to the narrative and the prevailing winds of explanation, and those people controlling the reins of the narrative. That's what it's all about. Narrative-driven worldview. And this whole industry does not deserve an inch. Let the truth have its day. Let's do away with the nannies who think they can be the hall monitors of speech. They can't, because we are all sinners. Everybody that is born a son of Adam or daughter of Eve is a sinner, and we're not actually capable of nannying speech. It's best to just let truth have its day. And in our conversation today about the sin of fact-checking, which is a form of bearing false witness, I want us to look at this in the context of a Frederick Douglas meme. Now, this meme, I first saw it on Instagram. It says, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." And I went to send this meme to some others. Instagram put up all these things that says, "Oh, this information is false. You can't send it. Don't send it. Don't send it." And furthermore, I went back to find it today on Instagram, and it was just gone. So I did a Google search for the best my memory could have of this meme, and it came up with this image being the first one, and I took a screenshot of it because, again, as you'll notice below the meme itself, it is a fact check. A fact check website has this meme. And I also found this interesting that when I saw this meme for the first time on Instagram, they had it blurred out where you couldn't even see it. It was just blocked with a little circle around the eye so you can't actually see it, or the slash over there, you know, it's banned. The circle with the slash in it. You can't see this. And this is important for us to understand because this shows us where we're at as a culture. You can look at their little technical devil in the detail justifications for why this information is false, and they'll say something to the extent of, "Oh, Frederick Douglas didn't really say this. He said something," and they've got another quote. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it's missing the word children. It's effectively the same concept, but it's worded a little bit differently. But you know what? I'm not getting into the weeds of that because that's not what this is about. They want you to move into the arena of the weeds because that's where the devil has his victory. And this is about something much different from all of that. There is a reason why they have fact-checked Frederick Douglas. And it's not to do with the fact that they think that his quote is imprecise or not the correct verbiage or something like that. No, no, no. What they are fact-checking is that Frederick Douglas's life, his teachings, his philosophies had upward aspirations. That meme had upward aspirations that said you as a child, you as a son of God, daughter of God, you can be transformed, you can move upward. That is what they're fact-checking. That is what they're calling false. This has nothing to do with how accurate the quote is or is not, and everything to do with worldview. They are fact-checking the whole idea that you might be transformed, that you might be liberated from your overlords. That is what they are doing. You see, the prevailing spirit of the age, the idolatrous religion that is trying to replace God, it wants people to be desperate. It wants them to have eyes for oppression, eyes for victimhood. It wants people to think that your identity is in a struggle, that your identity is in something which is weak and lowly. They do not want people to look at one another as sons and daughters of God who need to be restored. You know, I just preached Acts chapter 3 at the church last night, and in that there's a man who is lame from birth, and he's expecting alms. He's expecting money to be given to him by Peter and John, who are going into the temple. And they tell him, "We don't have money to give you, but we have something better." And in the name of Christ Jesus, they heal the man. The reason why Frederick Douglass is fact-checked, and the reason why we see so much fact-checking going on, has nothing to do with honesty, nothing to do with correct information. They want you to be begging for alms. They do not want you to be healed. They want you to be looking at the special people who have the power of the narrative and not thinking for yourself. It is purely about control and conformity, and this whole mentality doesn't deserve an inch. I don't care if there is disinformation out there. Let the truth have its day. If stuff is a lie, sort it out as a lie. You're not going to create a successful system of nannies who keep lies at bay. You're not. What you're going to do is create a tool that hell comes to use against you and enslave you with. That's what you're going to do. So this stuff, it does not deserve an inch, not one. So another issue that we have with all of this is the First Amendment and how it really is dead here in America. It's dead. When you read the First Amendment, it says, Congress shall make no law regarding an establishment of religion. If you change that word religion to belief system, you'll realize that that amendment is broken every day. As G.K. Chesterton calls it, the religion which has no name, that the intelligentsia, the elects in society, they have their progressive worldview, which they treat as a religion, but they don't call it one. They are marching for that, crusaders for it all day, every day. They're establishing laws where you have to have this and that going on in your workplace. You can say this, you can't say that. You can't blaspheme their gods. It is non-stop. You see, the spirit of the age, it wants you to be the man outside the temple begging for alms. If you read the Frederick Douglas meme, and it talks about building up strong children, building up, making good on the talents entrusted to you, being honorable parents, also looking at yourself as a child of God and your neighbors as children of God that can be built up, doing that rather than just wallowing in the pits of despair, which again, Frederick Douglas, this quote is actually correct. You cannot really close the gates of hell as much as you can open them. In fact, we don't have the power to close the gates of hell. It takes God to truly redeem and repair us. But this meme has upward aspirations. The world does not want that at all. And that's why it's fact-checked. It's about bearing false witness. It is a farce. So there's our short little conversation on the sin of fact-checking. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind and not just conformed to the world, as Romans 12 tells us. There are two other scriptures that I want to bring into this as we close. In Colossians 3, 1 and 2 it says, Therefore you have been raised with Christ, and therefore keep seeking the things that are above, where Christ is, seated right there at the right hand of God. In other words, look up towards the throne of heaven. The Frederick Douglas meme looks upwards towards the throne of heaven. That's why it's fact-checked. And the reason behind this is found in 1 Peter 4:4. And it says, in all this, they're surprised that you do not run with them in the same excess of debauchery, and they slander you. They want you to be stuck in the debauchery. They don't want you to be freed from it. That's why they've got to fact-check Frederick Douglas. They don't want you to have this upward aspiration. That is why. They want you wallowing in the pits of victimhood so they can be the ones who gives you alms. They want to be the ones who bring the alms to you. Therefore, they can control you and manipulate you. It's just wicked. It is a terrible subterfuge of sin. So that's where we'll leave that. Thank you for spending time with me. I'm Pastor J. Dylan Proctor. You can send me an email at jeffdylanproctor@gmail.com, and that's spelled JEFFDYLANPROCTOR. I love to hear from people. And on that note,